Have you ever wondered to what extent the loyalty and the natural instinct of an animal can surpass any expectation of a human? This is a common scene for a night out on the town with people walking by, people in a hurry through the streets, each one focused on a part of her daily routine. Among them, a woman was walking next to the train station, distracted and not realizing the danger that was approaching. All of a sudden she got sick, her body failed her and she collapsed, falling to just over the railroad tracks. The scene looked like one of those moments of pure, deterministic, and where it all might end in such a tragic way. But what happens next is going to hold their attention in a way you never thought possible. As long as the woman was out there, be vulnerable, something extraordinary happened. A dog, who had followed her mistress, she realized that something was wrong with me. His eyes focused, not allowed to escape from the strange movement, posture, out of desperation, or even in the sudden silence that fell on the environment. In a knee-jerk reaction, he despaired of, barked, strong, as if it was calling out for attention, but it's also as if he was trying to warn someone. And most surprising, and without a second thought, his dog, and took the attitude that no one could have expected. Have you ever gone through a situation in which you have to act quickly, without thinking? It is only with the heart. This story is all about that. On the one animal that, even if they do not understand the complexity of the danger, came to the realization that your instincts say that it is an emergency. And the next thing that happens is that something that's going to mess with your emotions and make you think about how great is loyalty is true. Stay with me until the very end, because that's all you're going to find out right now might surprise you and make you see the dog in a completely different way. Time seemed to stop at that point, and that the danger was getting closer and closer. The noise of a distant train could be heard, and every second seemed like an eternity. What happened in the following we will show that, at times, to the courage of the animal to be larger than anything we imagine, and that's the strength of the instincts in order to save lives in a way no one could have predicted. Get ready, because this story will thrill you and make you think, how far will the loyalty of a dog? If you can identify with this story, or have felt that twinge of hope when I think of the courage of one's dog, leave in the comments what else you've played, in your opinion, experiences, and feelings that are very important to build the community that seeks to spread the stories of strength, loyalty, and hope. In addition to this, if this video made you think about it, or have brought a little inspiration, don't miss to enjoy. It helps that more people can have access to the content of the value of courage and true love. We enjoy it, a statement of what a story like this deserves to be shared and remembered. And to continue with this kind of storytelling that moves and connects with the hearts, please subscribe to the channel. Your support will make a world of difference, for it is through him that we can bring you more inspiring stories, to build our community and spread a message of hope. Your being here is what makes this channel grow, and to reach more people with this type of content, and by building a network of empathy and compassion that goes beyond words. So, is invited to share their impressions in short, if you sign up, so that together, we can continue on this journey, the stories that touch your heart, and reinforce the point that, at times, the biggest hero is the one we least expect it. And the best part is yet to come. Right now, I want you to go deeper in the subject line, because that is exactly the essence of these small, daily choices, which is where the true transformation. Many of the times, we believe that big change only happens with the stock, great with decisions that seem to be daunting or out of range. But in fact, the power is in the small actions, the way we see the world, not only in our ability to maintain an open-minded and receptive to the revelation that life has to offer each and every day. This is the journey of the silent, often invisible to the eye, which is built on a new version of ourselves, the stronger, more aware and more in tune with what really matters to you. When we look at our own history carefully, we see that in every decision, in every moment of doubt, each and every step with courage or fear, it weaves a plot that defines who we are. And this is the plot that has not only made great achievements, but in the process of self-discovery, facing one's own limitations, and to question what we have been taught, to seek out the answers that are hidden in our lives. It's like a continuous transformation, a journey of discovery, where the impact of small actions, with reverberations far beyond what we could ever imagine. Each and every choice, whether conscious or unconscious, influences on our young life, shape our way of thinking, and as a result, the impact we can have on the lives of other people. The truth is hidden. Oftentimes, it is in the simplicity of these actions, which seem to be insignificant. A word of encouragement for a closer look, and a decision to do things differently on the same situation. These small changes will create a stream from the impact of the spread of it, touching the lives, raising awareness, and promoting a kind of domino effect, in which case the hope. It is in the routine of daily life that we find the greatest revelation, the ones that challenge us to be better, to go above and beyond what we thought possible. After all, it is the real strength, is the courage to continue, to persevere persevere, even when things seem too hard, or it is invisible. And then when you think about of these little choices, we realize that they reveal our real priorities are. Many times, when we are so stuck in a routine in which we ask the why of our actions and the impact they have created, at that moment, self-awareness, it becomes a very powerful tool, in a light that illuminates the behind the scenes of our own history, and helps us to understand that each and every decision, no matter how simple it may seem, it has the potential to transform our way of thinking, and opens the door to new possibilities. It is a journey of continuous learning, where each step leads us to a deeper understanding of who we are, and who we can become. I now want to go more in depth on this subject, because it's just in the diving inside we found a strength that often lies dormant in all of us. The real impact is not only in the big gestures, but in the realization that we are the authors of our own story. And when you accept that responsibility, we can begin to make choices that are more conscious. The more you align with our values and dreams as the most serious. Each decision is an opportunity to reconnect with our inner selves, to rescue the matter, and to build a story that makes me very proud. It is this constant movement of self-transformation that we find true freedom, and that which is born of the understanding that it is still possible to rewrite our history, at any time, with courage and hope. So, when you explore these revelations are hidden in the routine, we find that the impact of a more long-lasting is that it happens from the inside to the outside. The real change is a journey into the mindset of the everyday decisions that add up to create a new reality. This is how to plant the seeds of hope, courage, authenticity, and they are in bloom, slowly but with a force that surprises you. Each step in this direction, it brings us closer to a version that is closer to the truth, and stronger than we ourselves, are able to have a positive impact on the world around us. And in doing so, we end up discovering that the greatest impact, it is on our own, a transformation in the ways in which we can see, and the hope is that, as we change internally, we can turn to all that is going on around us. In order for this journey to continue, it is vital that every one of us to keep an open mind and heart receptive to the minor signs of the day-to-day, because at the end of the day, the greater truth is hidden. It is that we are able to make much of an impact just by being true to who we really are, with authenticity, courage, and a dose of curiosity as to what we can discover them. And when you think about all of this, it is certain that in the next step, whatever it is, it will always be a new opportunity for growth, connection, and the reassurance that ultimately, all of this history that we're building, it's a beautiful story of transformation. He comments that it makes no sense to me. Right now, I want you to go deeper in the subject line, because that is at the heart of these transformations. We find many of the answers that you seek. It is as if, in the course of the journey, we found out that real change is not just on the surface, but in the way of our decisions, beliefs, and emotions have been woven together to shape who we are. And it often reveals the truth hidden. It remains invisible to those who don't to keep a close eye on. A lot of people spend years living in accordance with the standards they don't even realize that they were feeding. We believe that it is out of set value or its potential, but in reality, it all starts from the inside out. It's in the way we think about our own limitations, our own doubts, and even in our failures, that is the real power of change. In order to understand this, you need to immerse yourself in the behind the scenes of our minds to explore that part of you that is too often prefer to ignore them, but they left the keys to the one that you really want to achieve. In this part, which we call the mind, is the command center of our journey, as it influences each and every decision we take, every step we take, in each and every obstacle that you face. When we align with this idea with the for our purposes, deep, as a kind of synchronicity begins to happen. It's as if the entire universe is conspiring in favor of bringing the opportunities that before would have seemed impossible. But this synchronization will only occur when we have the courage to confront our own personal truths, and to accept that some beliefs need to be left behind, and that in order to advance, it is necessary to give up some fears that you often don't even realize that we have. And this revelation is powerful, because it shows that the impact of the choices we make are not only for the present, but the echo in the history of life. Each and every decision, however small it may seem, it is a very important part in the construction of our heritage. When we understand this, we look at the past with a new perspective, realizing that many of the limitations we face are, in fact, the constructions of the mind that they could be broken up. And from there on, it is born out of a genuine desire to rewrite that narrative, creating a story that is based on the fact that we are all capable of so much more than we think. This is a journey of self-discovery, leads us to understand that behind every challenge, there is an opportunity in disguise, a chance to learn something new. It can strengthen our resilience, and the fact that the growth, it is exactly in those moments that we have decided not to give up. Behind the scenes of this change, there is also a connection to the impact that we can make to our daily lives. When we take on that responsibility, responsibility for our evolution, we begin to have a positive impact on those who are next to them, creating a chain of inspiration that goes beyond ourselves. It is as if, in the switch house, we're opening up a space for others to understand their own truths are hidden, and their potential is still untapped. And it is this the exchange of energy fuels the cycle of growth, thereby making the journey to a lighter, more meaningful, and full of stunning revelations. In the background, all of it reinforces the idea that true transformation is an ongoing journey, a discovery constantly of who we are and who we can become. Every step you take, every decision, every moment's reflection, it's a piece that fits into this mosaic tile is selected. And when you realize this, it becomes clear that the greatest impact occurs when we align our thoughts, our emotions, and our actions with what we truly believe to be our purpose. And so, the journey is not only about achieving the goals of the outside, but when you become the best version of yourself, a version of you that is living in harmony with their deepest truths, and who, therefore, can have a major impact in the way of genuine and long-lasting. And it is at this point that I want to leave you with a thought. Many of the times, the major revelations come just for those times when we stop, breathe, and ask all the things that we used to think that it was set in stone. Because at the end of the day, what really turns it is the courage to look beyond the obvious, to challenge our own limits, and to go along with the assurance that each step is an opportunity for growth. And in doing so, we found out that we are on a journey of self-transformation, where every time a new discovery is to be an open door to a world of endless possibilities. He comments that it makes no sense to me. Right now, I want you to go deeper in the subject line, because that's the true transformation doesn't just happen on the surface, it is rooted in our ability to change the way we see the world. And of course, we are the same. Many of the times, we are caught up in the narrative we have been taught from a young age, a history of the borders, fear, and due to what we believe to be absolute truths, it's as if we loaded up a backpack full of stones, each one representing a doubt, insecurity, and a negative experience that you have accumulated, weigh us down and hinder our journey. However, what very few realize is that this backpack doesn't need to be charged for every time. Freedom is acknowledging the burden that you carry, and then you decide to open the backpack, a look at what's in there, and do some kind of cleanup. This is a crucial step in your journey of self-transformation. The courage to confront their own shadows, to accept that many of our limitations are mental constructs, and when called for, we can make room for something new. This is where the real change begins to happen, because we work with more awareness, more purpose, more aligned with our deepest values. And in the process, we find that the impact of our decisions go far beyond what we had imagined. Each selection, from the simple to the more complex, and it has the potential to create a chain of effects that will reverberate in our own life and in those around us. It's as if we're in a stage, and each and every move you make influences and the landscape around us. The difference is that when it comes to this is the role of stakeholders in mind, we have started to work with more intention, to take more care, to create a story that truly reflects who we are and who we want to become. At the same time, this is a journey of transformation and reveals that there are behind the scenes, which often remain hidden, where our deepest fears and the limiting beliefs that seem harmless, but they act like real walls, not seen. In these scenes, they often avoid to explore, have the revelations of the valuable about what it actually stops us from moving forward. When we find them, we can see the impact these beliefs have on our way of thinking, and from there, we can decide if we want to stay as they are, or if you would prefer to rewrite them and create new stories of success and achievement. The beauty of this discovery is the possibility of transformation is that it has to offer. It's not just the change of external actions, but it is a process of reconstruction, of a revolution in the way we think, feel, and act. This is the point where the journey takes on a new meaning. As we all know, change is not a one-off event, but an ongoing cycle of development, where each of the revelation urges us to dig even deeper. In this phase, you learn to be kinder to ourselves, to appreciate our little victories and recognize that each and every step, the quieter it is, it leads us to a state of greater alignment and authenticity. And so, to deepen this understanding, we begin to realize that the truth is hidden behind a lot of our limitations. It is our own power to create new realities. When we've stepped out of what binds us to the past, we make room for that, for the transformation happens from the inside to the outside. This is the essence of change, the courage to go beyond that. It seems safe to explore the unknown with confidence, and if you allow yourself to be vulnerable in the face of the extraordinary potential that resides in each and every one of us. This is a journey of self-discovery doesn't have to end, as each of revelation opens the door to a whole new level of growth, and each level gained in preparing for the challenges ahead, and be confident that the real power is in our hands, waiting to be awakened. He comments that it makes no sense to me. I now want to go more in depth on this topic, because they understand that the journey of self self-discovery isn't ever-changing. It demands a keen awareness of our own making and how they are shaping the impact we have on the world around us. Too often, we get stuck in a routine of behavior automatic, where the choices seem to be small, but it is, in truth, they carry a heavy burden in the construction of our reality. Such an understanding is the first step to unlock an inner power and strength that often lies dormant, hidden away under layers of insecurity, doubt, or even a lie that we tell in order to justify our end. If you think about it, we realize that true change doesn't just happen on the big actions we take, but mostly in the way in which we react to the smallest provocation in the day-to-day. It is at that moment that our way of thinking, one that is often shaped by the experiences of the past, for those outside, or by a fear of failure, it starts to reveal his true colors. When we become aware of these influences, we can begin to reprogram the way you think, feel, and act. And it is this reprogramming is a real revolution in the internal transformation that affects not only the journey, but also the way in which we affect the universe around us. In this process of awakening, there is a revelation that few of us are willing to face it head-on. What's the truth? It hides many of the times. It is in us. It turns out that the more we seek answers outside, in the largest single source of truth that resides at our very core, and this essence is like a diamond in the rough, it will need to be cut with patience, courage, and honesty. When we are able to see beyond the surface and delve into our own history, to find out the reasons for which we have sabotamos, or why would we let that fear dictate our actions, it is liberating because it gives you the power to choose a new path, a new narrative, a new version of ourselves. From the moment we assume this responsibility, we understand that each and every decision that we make is a seed that is to be taken in the future. And a lot of the time this season is over sooner than we think, because of the impact of our actions echo in our daily lives, in our relationships, and our self-esteem. At this point, the journey is no longer something foreign to come up with something that's out there, and it turns out to be a true, inner transformation, a revolution in the type of thinking that enables us to meet any challenge, and with greater clarity and confidence. It's fascinating to see how such a change of perspective can affect even the way we perceive time. It turned out that there is no one perfect time to get started, or a magic formula for success. What really matters is the decision to take the first step, however small it may seem to you, and to keep the focus on the construction of a new reality, one that is aligned with our deepest values. And when you do that, you start to realize that the universe conspires in favor of those who have the courage to look ahead and to reinvent itself constantly. Each and every small victory, every insight, every time a new discovery is a key part of the construction of a narrative that is more authentic and powerful. I now want to go more in depth on this subject. It is because of this understanding that we are the authors of our own story. It leads us to question all the things that we accept as being true. Many of the limitations that we have are in truth the mental constructs that have been imposed upon in the course of time by the influences of familial, cultural, or social in nature. When we break down those limiting beliefs, we open up space for a new mindset, one that appreciates the value of courage, authenticity, and freedom to be who you really are. At this point in our journey, it becomes a constant quest for authenticity, for a connection that is true to our purpose and an impact that goes beyond the ego or of the success of the surface. Such a deep connection with our inner self gives us a broader perspective on the impact we can have on the world. This is not only to achieve the goals, materials, or of gaining external recognition, but to make a statement of true, inspiring others to discover and transform their own lives. Each step in this direction is a statement of what you are willing to challenge the truths we have been taught to you, and to bring about a new reality, which is based on the values that align with our inner selves. It is a journey of self-discovery, which is about having the courage to face your own shadows, but at the same time, it reveals a bright light capable of illuminating the path for those who will continue to evolve. And all of this just reinforces that's a thing, and that's the real power lies in our decision-making ability, the strength, the will to change, and the courage to believe in what we are able to transform into any of the above scenarios, as challenging a task as it may seem. This is strength, and many of the times, it just needs to be aroused, and that arousal is the greatest revolution that we can do it in your own story. When we realize that we are the people, the truth is our weapon, everything around you begins to change in a way that is not thought to be possible. And then at that moment, the feeling of being in control of one's own life, and if it's something tangible, real, and an achievement that only those who are dedicated to the truth can try out. To complete this discussion, I want to make you an idea that maybe you need to do is to reflect even more, that each and every decision, no matter how small it is a chance to reinvent yourself, to challenge your own comfort zone, and create a new story of the impact and authenticity. And that narrative is only going to appear on in your life, and if you have the courage to write honestly every chapter, every page, every paragraph. Because at the end of the day, the story is more powerful than we can tell you is that it is born out of our own essence, our truth, the more in depth. And in doing so, we are not only changing our lives, but also contribute to a transformation of the collective on a journey that inspires and reveals the true potential that lies within each and every one of us. He comments that it makes no sense to me. I now want to go more in depth on this topic because they understand the power of truth is not just a matter of self-help or motivational in the moment. It is a matter of the awakening, an inner transformation that echoes in every decision, every action that we take in the course of the day. When you begin to look at the inside and also to see what's really on the move, the things that you truly believe in, it starts to gain a whole new meaning. And this find many times it's quiet. You on a journey of self-discovery, which is about having the courage to face our own shadows and other vulnerabilities. A lot of people live in a kind of routine emotional, where they are taken in by the standards, expectations, and external, or by the fears that have been installed throughout one's life. Do they tend to stay in your comfort zone in thinking about it? This is the only way to avoid the discomfort, but is in fact, they are moving away from the opportunity to live a life that is more authentic. The truth is hidden that few realize is that these fears to be vulnerable, it's the very thing that prevents us from achieving true freedom of mind. The more we connect with who we are of the truth, the more we realize that our own limitations are often created by the stories we tell ourselves, by the trials that we have absorbed in a world that insists on the label. To change this narrative is internal. It requires a change of mind, a conscious choice of accepting our own imperfections as a part of the process of growing up. It's as if, when you open our vulnerability, and to have some, also with a door to possibilities like never before. And all these possibilities have a direct impact on the way we view our challenges, our relationships, and even in our dreams as the most challenging. The journey of self-transformation is, in fact, it is a silent revolution that is happening from the inside to the outside, and by how much the more it goes, the more we realize that authenticity is of the most power it can wield. The other point is that too often goes unnoticed is this deep connection to the core also has an impact on our decision-making skills. When we are in alignment with what you truly believe, your choices are no longer driven by fear or by a foreign interest and will reflect on our most pure. Thus, in each step we take, it becomes a genuine expression of who we truly are, and that, in turn, creates a string that is the positive impact that can come from outside of us. This is the strength of the authenticity that is not only a tool of self-transformation, but a seed of change that can be inspiring for other people to reconnect with their essence. This connection is deep. It also reveals the need to understand the behind the scenes of your mind, those automatic thoughts that often sabotage without notice. It's a story that the limiting belief that you seem to be so obvious that not even noticed his presence. But when you immerse yourself in our internal narrative, we begin to realize that a lot of these stories are not the truth, but a distorted version of what happened, or of what we believe to be possible. Let go of those old beliefs is an important step in the journey of transformation, because it allows us to reprogram our minds, and to open up space for new possibilities. And here is where the importance of having an open-mindedness, cultivate an attitude of curiosity, and to be willing to question everything, what you think that it's a fixed or set in stone. When we do this, we take an important step in addition to that. It is well known, going in, that we can call it the land of true freedom of mind. After all, it is the freedom to be who we truly are is not something that is achieved at one time or another, but it is a solid construction, made up of small, daily decisions that strengthen our authenticity and our connection to the deeper truth that we have. Now, I want you to go even deeper on this subject, because as he understands the impact that our truth is in the journey, we see that she also has an impact on the way we see the world around us. Every decision, every relationship, every step that we take is an expression of our inner connection with what we believe to be true. When we are in alignment with our inner selves, and the impact of what we produce is of the greatest, most genuine, the most able to make a real change in the community, it is as if each and every one of us to be a very important part in the construction of a new reality, which is based on transparency, courage, and authenticity. For this reason, an understanding of this connection is our truth. It is a constant invitation to self-reflection. It's an invitation to ask questions about what really matters to you, to challenge you all the patterns in the trap, and to make room for a change that starts from the inside out. And along the way, each and every small accomplishment, every insight, and every decision that is aligned with what we believe is a fundamental part of our journey of evolution. Because, at the end of the day, the greatest revolution that we can promote it on that what's going on inside of us, and that it has the potential to impact everything around you. He comments that it makes no sense to me. I now want to go more in depth on this subject, for it is precisely at this point that a lot of people get lost on their journey of transformation. Real change doesn't just happen with a major action or a moment of inspiration fleeting, but rather to the consistency of day-to-day way we choose to stand in the face of adversity, and of all the small decisions that seem inconsequential in the routine, but is, in fact, helps to shape who we are. It is as if each was a seed planted in fertile soil, which over time, leads to a forest of new habits, new thoughts, and emotions are more in line with what we want to achieve. And here comes a realization that a lot of times it's hidden in the rush of daily life, our relationship with, and our perception of its value. How many times do we allow ourselves to be carried away by the feeling that a change needs to happen from one day to another, forgetting that the process is that deep, it takes time and requires patience, perseverance, and above all, autocompasio. The truth is concealed. This is where the real growth is not linear. It is a journey filled with highs and lows, discoveries, and new beginnings. And the more you understand it, the more cozy it becomes our attitude in the face of his own limitations. When we think about that dynamic, we see that the mindset that we use is the single most powerful of our transformation. In a growth mindset, which sees difficulties as opportunities to learn, it makes all the difference. It allows us to see beyond the immediate to realize that the obstacles to this are only the stepping stones to a future that is more solid and real. It's as if we'd been building up a castle with a deep-rooted that it stands up to the most violent of storms, and in the process, made a conscious decision to keep a positive outlook and a focus on the evolution of it as a cornerstone in this castle. However, it is important to recognize behind the scenes of this journey, the moments of doubt, in the days when it all seems to come crashing down, and the inner voices that come into question if it's all worth it. These are the moments that show our true strength, because it is precisely in the face of adversity that we are able to find a more resilient, and at the same time, they understand that these steps are temporary, and gives us an even greater impact on our ability to move forward with courage and clarity. After all, it is the overcoming of these obstacles that we actually turns out, that's the core of who is more strong and reliable. For this reason, the search for the truth hidden within each and every one of us is on a journey of self-discovery and constant. The more we connect with who we are of the truth, the easier it is to distinguish between what really matters to you, the passenger, and that this is essential for our growth. Such a deep emotional connection is the key to avoiding distractions and stay focused on what really makes no sense, even when the path seems uncertain and full of questions. And at the same time, it helps us to understand the impact that we have on the world, starting within ourselves, in our mind, in our ability to make up for what we believe in, and to keep that commitment, regardless of the external circumstances. From this understanding, it all gets a whole new perspective. The change is no longer a distant goal, and is now a construction site daily, with a series of small actions that align with our inner truth. It's as if we're writing a new story chapter after chapter, to make sure that every word, every decision, you are contributing to a more authentic and meaningful to you. And in the process, the most important thing is the courage to continue to explore every nuance of the journey, and to stay open to the revelation that life has in store. At the end of it all, it is the feeling that, in spite of all the difficulties, we are moving on a path of self-improvement, a genuine one that seeks not simply out of reach, but it's a constant evolution, in a development that will allow you to live with more presence, more of a connection with the present, and more in alignment with what we truly are, we want it to be, because deep down, this is the greatest change of all, the one who is going on inside of us, and which, in turn, reflects on the impact that we leave on the world around us. He comments that it makes no sense to me. I now want to go more in depth on this topic, because they understand that the journey of transformation is not just a matter of understanding the concepts of surfaces, but to immerse yourself in the behind the scenes of what really goes on when you decide to change our way of thinking and, consequently, the way in which we live. Many of the times, we believe that external change is the ultimate goal, but the truth is, it was conceived as a side effect of the built-in transforms real, the one that challenges our own beliefs, constraints, and standards that are being displayed. It is at this point that it becomes fascinating, because the real revolution is going on inside of us. It is often silent, often invisible to the eyes of the world, but it's powerful enough to turn the game in our history. Along the way, we begin to realize that our daily choices are a reflection of one's belief system, which very often don't even ask. These beliefs, which have been shaped over the years by experience, the opinions of a third party, fear and the social expectations, plans, but it was like invisible strings that lead to our actions. And this is where it comes to the importance of having a growth mindset, a willingness, a genuine question everything that you think that it is the truth. Is this a posture of curiosity and self-awareness allows us to give space to the revelations, which were hidden under a layer of uncertainty or confusion. It is intriguing to note that, often, the greater the resistance to change is just the inside that inner voice that urges us to keep in your comfort zone. Do you insist on saying that we will not be able to, or that we don't deserve anything better? That voice, it sounds so convincing that as a result of a hold-up is old. It needs to be challenged with a new and informed decisions. And in doing so, we create a kind of domino effect. The challenge of A's belief in customers, we have opened up space for new possibilities and new ways of thinking, acting and feeling. Thus, the transformation is no longer something that is abstract, and it turns out to be a building construction, daily, made up of little decisions that you as a whole, changes in the way in the course of our history. However, this journey reveals truths that are hidden from those who would prefer to hide it from ourselves, for fear of seeing what you really feel or fear of losing what we believe to be our safety zone. This may surprise some people when they come to the surface, and often challenge our self-esteem and bring into question everything that we've built up here. But paradoxically, it is precisely at this point of the discussion that we find the opportunity to break the chains. Didn't even know what caragavamos. It is a process of auto-confronto what it takes courage, but you are rewarded with more freedom within that, none of the conquest of outer unable to replace them. On the basis of these findings, we have begun to realize the impact our mindset has on our lives. Every decision, every response, every relationship is an opportunity to reaffirm our deepest values. And at the same time, this awareness helps us to understand what we really want to is not something that is imposed from the outside world, but it is a more authentic expression of our being. This understanding leads to a transformation that is above all, a quest for authenticity and alignment with our true nature. And it is at this point that it all connects to make us more present and aware. We begin to have a positive impact on each and every aspect of our reality, creating an impact that reverberates beyond what we could ever imagine. The complexity of this process is that it doesn't have a magic formula or a recipe in a ready. Each person lives in his own narrative, with its pains, joys, concerns, and findings. And by the same token, the actual it is the most valuable component of this course. When we allow ourselves to explore the deepest in the us, and you hereby release us from the shades and the expectations of the outside, we set out to build an all-new story, a story that actually makes sense for who we are and who we want to be. Such a genuine connection with our inner being is the one that gives you the strength to continue on, even when the obstacles seem bigger than you can handle. And at this point, the idea that the transformation is a continuous journey becomes of fundamental importance. There is no end point, nor is it a state of perfection to be achieved. There is a constant evolution, where each step makes us stronger for the next challenge. And at the same time, this development reveals a new layer of ourselves, of the new truths which before were hidden beneath the surface of our everyday lives. The more we go in the process, the more we realize that we've been building up a solid base of self-knowledge, courage, and authenticity, and the elements that have become essential to a full life that is aligned with what we truly are. The beauty of this discovery is in the simplicity. To understand it, to have to change our mindset, we change our experience of life. And then when you switch to our experience, to have an effect on the world around us in a way that many don't realize. This connection between the internal and the external, it is one of the major revelations of the journey of transformation as we do. And when you understand this, you begin to see that everything that we do, ranging from small decisions every day until the big choices in life, you have a deep impact not only on who we are, but the reality is that each of us can help create one for you. And therefore, is the true essence of this journey is revealed. It's not just about reach goals and win is something that is external, but rather to develop a new way of being in the world, and connect with people and to enjoy each and every moment, with more of a presence. This is a change that requires patience, dedication, and above all, a provision to earnest to get to know each other better each day. Because deep down, to live with authenticity, with a growth mindset, and the courage to face their own truths, this is the one that actually takes us on a more lighter, more meaningful, and, above all, authentic. Right now, I want you to go deeper in the subject line, because that is the journey of transformation is not only about changing habits and learning new routines. It involves having a genuine internal revolution, where every decision, every thought, and every feeling are put to the ultimate test. It is as if we are dismantling an old structure, which has often been built up over the course of a year, and then rebuild it with something more in line with who you really are or want to be. And such a reconstruction requires a heart that is not to be found in any place, and with the courage to face your own shadows, to challenge your limiting beliefs, and open up space for a new narrative. When we begin to explore these behind the scenes to internal, realize that many of our limitations are, indeed, the fruit of a distorted understanding of ourselves. It is as if we are stuck in a room in the invisible, which was created by the thoughts and repetitive, so the expectations of others, or by the fears are grounded, which over time, were transformed into the absolute truth. And there you have it. The true transformation begins with the question we hold these truths are hidden, to investigate his origins, and realize that a lot of them, or they were our own, but are inherited, imposed upon, or that are created by a society that often values on the surface, and there is no reference to a look at what really matters to you. In this case, the impact is profound. Because of the desconstruirmos of these limiting beliefs, we make room for new ways to flourish. In a growth mindset, they understand that the error is not with the ending, but it's a learning opportunity. You acknowledge that the vulnerability is not a weakness, but it's a bridge to the connections, the more honest and authentic. And at the same time, their journey reveals to you the revelations of the occult, which were buried under layers of fear, self-doubt, or in this makes. These findings act as a mirror, reflecting the truth of who we really are, in addition to the masks that we wear in order to please, or to hide our insecurities. But it's also important to understand that this change doesn't happen from one time to another. It is a journey of discovery, continuous, where each step reveals a new, higher level of self-awareness. And along the way, a lot of times, we are asked to make choices that challenge the status quo, and force us to get out of your comfort zone and challenge all of the things that seem to be the same. After all, there can be no growth without discomfort. There is no progress without courageous. And then, when you open the internal space of the house, we began to see the impact of our decision-making, with reverberations far beyond us. They can influence the environment around us, shaping our relationships, and in some way, contribute to the creation of a society that is more aware, more empathetic, and more accurate. Think about it. Everything that is to understand that the journey of transformation is, in fact, it is a movement of an impact that goes far beyond the individual. It's a great message, but very powerful. It starts within each and every one of us, and extends to all communities of the world. And no matter how much this journey will be challenging, it is also filled with stunning revelations, all of which show that you are capable of more than you think. With each step taken in this way is a testament to that. As we look into the sincerity and courage, we can find a strength that you might not even know that there was a power that can transform lives, and open up new horizons in the field, and to reveal the true essence of what has always been there, hidden under the layers of doubt and insecurity. As we move forward in this journey, we are faced with decisions that seem small at the time, but it carries a heavy burden in the construction of the self. These decisions, self-awareness, authenticity, and courage are like a seed that, when planted, with the intention to truly grow up and turn into a tree, heavy-duty self-confidence and hope. And at the same time, we find that the impact of the choices we make, it echoes in the lives of those around us, influencing others in a positive way or a negative, depending on the level of consciousness which we have achieved. It is a transformation cycle that never stops. It is challenging to always be on the alert to our own truths, and the impact that we want to generate, and the changes that we're willing to embrace it. At this point, it is clear that authenticity is not an end state, but a continual practice. This is a decision every day to be true to yourself, even when the world seems to request that we fit in the mold of pre-established. And it is this practice that it requires a growth mindset, a willingness to learn from their own mistakes, to celebrate the little victories, and in particular, to accept that evolution never stops. Because deep down, what you are looking for is not simply an illusion, but it is a life that is aligned with our deepest values, one's life, which allows us to live more lightly on the planet, with more of an impact, and most of all, with more of the truth. And it is at this point that the journey is made even more fascinating, because it shows that each and every one of us has the power to make choices that challenge the status quo, break away from the old stories that take us to a new understanding of ourselves. When we realize that we are the protagonists of this transformation, it is clear that the impact we make it bigger than you think. Each made a conscious decision, an act of courage, and of every moment of authenticity that can contribute to a broader change, a change that it begins. But what if it extends beyond our own world, touching lives, inspiring others to also seek your truth? And then, in the motion of an impact, we have discovered that the real power is not in control of it all around us, but to transform the way we see, feel, and act in the face of the world. He comments that it makes no sense to me. If you've read this far, I want to thank you for following this journey with me. I think that over the course of the video, we were able to reflect on our attitudes and perceptions. It can make all the difference in our evolution. In this connection, we have to understand understand that the real power lies in how we react to those circumstances, that it is something that can transform our daily lives and the choices we make daily. So if you get this message resonated in any way, leave a comment saying, "I'm with you till the end," or something to show that you have identified yourself with the contents. It's always good to know that the conversation makes no sense to you. If you like what you see, he's like a lightweight and straightforward. It is a natural way to strengthen this trade-off. After all, it is the way that we build here. This is a learning experience, which makes sense when it is being shared with those who are also seeking to grow. And of course, if you want to continue to explore this topic or to discover new places, there's a video right here on the side which complements this subject. Click there and still am there. I am sure you are going to help you even more to put them into practice in their day-to-day life. I'm glad to have spent this time with you, and I hope that this conversation will continue on in your head and in your heart. Until next time, with more insights and innovations that can make all the difference in your journey.